What's pooping, internet user? Uh, Chinese proverb once said something very smart. Man who runs in front of car gets tired. Man who runs behind car gets exhausted. What does that have to do with today's video? Absolutely nothing. Welcome back to another video on this professional YouTube channel. This is some music that I like. I made it myself, so check it out if you want to check that out. Anyway, that's my music shout out. And I today am talking about the UGL draft season. This was a what is this? This is like the fourth season. Never mind. I see it right at the top of the doc. It's the third season. Okay, third season of this draft league. I've been kind of spectating it because I've had friends in it for a while, but it's a cartridge league. But this season, they have opened up a new division, and this new division is going to be played on sports, which means I am about it. You know, I've been watching for a while because I got my friends in it, and I've just been hanging out in the server. And now that they got the showdown division, here I am, bro. I'm here to party. You know, let's get it going. All right. So it's a new showdown division, and it is a big mix of people. There are some people. There's only one. So in the other one, they have like almost like an A bracket and B bracket. This one, everybody's mashed together. You know. So we're gonna have some people who are very experienced, people who are a lot newer. Big mix and mash, and I was like, okay, you know, this was a great time to do, you know, just have a good time, you know, and maybe get a little different of a team. Maybe draft that thick boy team. You know, we got what did we get? We got 95 points, and we got 10 mobs we got to draft. I'm like, yeah, you know, simple, you know. So usually people, you know, make a slideshow. I've done this in the past. Make a slideshow, and I show you the mobs one by one. But you don't want to see that. Look at my team right there. Okay, we're gonna do this. You know, sometimes these videos can get a long time, and I'm making this video a long video because I'm talking about how long these videos can get. But that's besides the point. I'm going to speed up the process just by showing you the entire team right here. Talk about some of the synergies, why I drafted some of the things. I can tell you right now, if you're asking me, do you think this team is a good team? I don't think this team is superb. I think it's absolutely winnable. Like, I think you can absolutely win games with it, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun. You know, I look at this team and I'm like, I think I could have a really good time with this. It's very thick, got that thick boy moves, maybe a couple cool sets here and there. I actually changed it as well. So I changed in the transaction period. I used to have over Starmie, Jolteon, and Weezing, I had Lapras, Mew, and Electabuzz. And if you just take a look at my speed tiers, imagine if I got rid of Jolteon and Starmie, and the only thing I replaced that was like even semi-fast was Mew. I had my top speed on the team was 101, then I had base 100 Mew, and I was like, this is just really bad. So I got rid of Mew, but just overall on my team, like taking a look at the rockers, Landoi and Como. So those are my only two rockers on the squad. One of them should be able to get up the rocks like all the time. Shared weakness in ice is a little bit bad, but I do think we have really solid ice counterplay. I mean, we have freaking Melmetal, and Starmie is usually enough to Starmie isn't the bulkiest thing in the world, but can take an ice hit and can run bulkier recover sets and everything as well. Likewise, when I got rid of Mew, I also got rid of spikes, toxic spikes, and defog and everything. So I still have removal with Starmie over Mew. So that was one of the good things about Starmie. Starmie now has flip turn, so Starmie can still get in and out. And then besides that, I mean, I have Lando and Moltres. So Lando is probably going to be a much more supportive role than a Lando I might be on a lot of other teams. I foresee myself bringing a lot of just like Earth Power, U-turn, and either Rocks or Defog, and playing around that. Might just bring a lot of boots and not focus too much on getting rid of hazards and stuff. But we'll see. It depends how my team matches up against some of these other teams, and the other teams vary in quality as well. Like there was one team that I was looking at that has absolutely 0 fire resist and 0 ghost resist. So it's like versus a team like that, it probably doesn't matter too much. There's just like so much other counterplay that you can have and whatnot. But we'll deal with that when we get there. Okay, so I just made some videos about team building recently with Fire, Water, Grass, and Fairy, Dragon, Steel Core. So let me talk about my draft here and if I implemented those and how I implemented them. Fairy, Dragon, Steel. Melmetal, pure Steel type. Aromatisse, pure Fairy type. Como, Dragon, and Fighting type. So my Steel type does indeed resist Fairy and Ice for my Dragon type, and my Steel type is extremely bulky, extremely defensive, and although it does not have true recovery, I did draft both Umbreon and Aromatisse to pass wishes to Melmetal. So Steel type really holding down the fort there, and I think Melmetal is a super solid Steel. My original plan was to go Melmetal and Latias, but Latias got scooped up right behind me. So, and Latios was also out. So what I did instead was Moltres, because Moltres actually has really good defensive synergy with Melmetal. I'm kind of deviating from my Fairy, Dragon, Steel here, but one of the great things about just Moltres Melmetal is that Melmetal resists rock for Moltres, and Moltres is immune to ground, resists fire, and there was one, and resists fighting. Wonderful. So that's really good synergy. Aromatisse, I already said, can pass wishes to Melmetal, and Como is a good rock setter, really good defensive mon, huge utility all over the place. A lot of times in the leagues that we are playing in with a lot of my friends and stuff, I feel like Como is underutilized. I think it has the capability to run much more differentiated sets. Like, I mean, that probably wasn't a very graceful way of saying it, but I think there's a lot of opportunity for it to run cool sets. And mine will be able to do that sort of if I can get rocks on Lando all the time. And then if Lando has a good matchup, I'll just have to run Rocks Como, like a Rocks defensive Como. But I think there's lots of cool play to be had with Como on this team. And I think it will have the capability to run, like, I don't know, maybe even a band set some weeks. I'm not a huge fan of the throat spray set, but like if it has a really good matchup, then it has a really good matchup. I think a defensive set is probably going to be coming a lot because I'm a fan of defensive Fairy, Dragon, Steel Core, and defensive Como, Aromatisse, and Melmetal. Super hard to break, really good synergies and resistances there. Obviously, the biggest issue with this squad, like defensively, would be that it relies on Melmetal for a lot of resistances. For instance, like flying. My flying resists are Jolteon or Melmetal. So if there is something like the week that I play Torn T, if it can hit its focus blasts, then that can be kind of difficult. So I'm going to have to be leaning on some other mons to try to be pseudo checks to those things. So that's why I say it's not like an amazing team, like, but I think it's got the force to overwhelm some more defensive teams, because I think Moltres can actually be a really good breaker. Como can obviously be a really good breaker, or can run a Dragon Dance set. Melmetal, obviously very difficult to deal with. But I foresee myself playing a very defensive game with this against a lot of the teams in this league. But I do think it has the opportunity to go for a more offensive build, especially if you're looking down towards this section. If we're looking down towards like Como, this squad right here, like say I run these 4 one week, I can definitely run a very offensive build with that. So it's not super easy to build for, because there are so many different defensive tricks to use for it. So if an opponent over preps for defensive play and I just start bringing the farm against them, I think there are some capabilities there. Fire, water, grass. So I talked about the Dream Core. Fire, water, grass. Vileplume, Starmie, Moltres. Is this a good fire, water, grass core based on my video that I had not too long ago, maybe like last week? Like, I would not say that this fire, water, grass core is the backbone that you are looking for from the main defensive core of your team. I think Moltres, Starmie, Vileplume will be useful in some matchups, but I drafted other defensive cores because I believe that my Fairy Dragon Steel is going to be the main defensive backbone of the team. And I think Starmie will often play a more offensive role. I think there will be some matchups where Starmie will fit into that defensive range, but Vileplume can get it done, honestly. And Moltres obviously probably going to be coming most weeks. But where that kind of falls apart is Starmie and Vileplume can be a little passive and can have some difficulties in some matchups. Obviously very susceptible to knock, so I'm going to have to, because of Moltres and because my water type is weak to knockoff, and honestly nothing on this team super wants to take it, so I'll have to utilize Aromatisse and Como probably to deal with knockoffs throughout the season. Maybe Umbreon as well, but we will see. So Fairy Dragon Steel, good. Fire, water, grass, usable, but definitely not the defensive backbone if that was your main backbone of the team, unless you're just making a really offensive build, which I typically do not. And then what was the other one? It was Psychic, Dark, and either Steel, Poison, or Fire. And as you can tell, this worked a lot better when I had Mew as my psychic type. When Mew was my psychic type, this core was looking thick, boy. Like, this was so thick. Mew, Umbreon, and then I've got Vileplume was already on the team. Vileplume, Melmetal, and Moltres. That is like a thick boy core, like that is like tense. He's like thick. So that's the thing. Although my Fire, Water, Grass core is not great, although my Psychic Dark, and then either Steel, Fire, or Poison is not super well because Starmie is fitting the role for both those two cores. I think the Fairy Dragon Steel will back it up, and I think if Starmie has a good matchup, then those cores will also be really difficult to break. So the issue with those two cores is mainly Starmie, but Starmie, do not sleep on the defensive capabilities that Starmie can have. Not 100% reliable because it is a little bit frail, but you can definitely make Starmie bulky, and the typing is really solid, and the speed and offensive presence also helps that a lot. So I'm happy with that. I think that's all well and good. I did like the team a lot when I still had the Mew, Lapras, and Electabuzz. It was really only the speed tiers that made me change it, because I'm like, people are gonna be, if they have any fast mon that's like over 100 speed, they can just like run almost no speed on it, and just outspeed my team and run super bulky. So pretty congested speed tiers there, but I think now that I worked that out, it's going to be a little bit better. But if I do feel like I want to change it, I still can switch and pick Mew back up, because Mew is still on the draft board and I can make a trade for it. And I think that would be fun. So I'm honestly considering it, even though it'll mess up my team. I just feel like since this league has a mix between some stronger players and some newer players and all, I think having Mew on this and having poor speed tiers, I think my play can make up for those issues against a lot of teams. So we'll see. Anyway, I'm going to end it there just because I don't want this to get too long. So I hope you all have a freaking fantastic day, and I will catch you on week 1 of this tournament. Goodbye.